Welcome to Making the Magic, a podcast chatting about all things Disney, Universal and beyond. This week we're back at Disneyland Paris, talking about the Hotel Cheyenne. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Martin, and before we kick off today's podcast, firstly we just want to say thank you for everyone who's been listening to us recently. We will hopefully have news coming up soon. Keep checking the Facebook page for sort of reopening dates. At the moment, we don't have any reopening dates for Disneyland Paris or Hotel Cheyenne, and the same for Hotel New York. We know that there are hundreds of you that are literally just waiting, myself and Amanda included, to book to go to that particular hotel. So if you are one of those people who is looking to come and stay at Disney's Hotel New York, The Art of Marvel, when it opens, then please check out the show notes, because there's going to be a link to our newsletter where you can sign up and get all the information.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever been so much excitement about a hotel opening up, has there? We've all been waiting a long time for it. I think, as you said, we'll be at the top of the list for people who want to go and stay there. We've got lots of people signed up already to get information as soon as we have it. So if you are looking to stay at that hotel, then yeah, get in touch and get signed up for the email list.
Yeah, I mean, I've walked past it. I walked past it yesterday, and it is looking fantastic from the outside. There's less and less vans in the car park, which to me sort of either means that there's no one working on it, or that a lot of the work is starting to sort of finish up. It was more cars. Beforehand, it was obviously more sort of vans, sort of, you know, painters and things like that coming in, but now it's more cars, which makes me kind of think it's more people who are there to kind of learn about how the hotel runs. That might be just looking into it a bit too much. All the paint and decorators might have finished for the day when I went, but who knows? Hopefully we're going to get an announcement reasonably soon.
Yeah, it'd be great to get the park reopened, all the hotels back open as soon as we're able to travel and it's safe to do so. I know, you know, lots of us waiting to get back out to Disneyland Paris as soon as we're able to.
Yeah. Now, where you actually drive into Hotel New York, opposite pretty much, is the entrance to Hotel Cheyenne. But if you're actually going to be walking to there from the park, there's actually quite a bit of a distance between the two of them. But driving, the entrances are pretty much opposite each other. So for those of you who never stayed at the hotel before, it's a 3-star hotel. It's one of the furthest away, that and Hotel Santa Fe are the sort of furthest away. Disney say it's a 20-minute walk. I say it's probably sort of more of a 15-minute walk. Obviously, depends on how quickly you walk to get down to the entrance of the theme parks. You can take a shuttle bus, of course. The shuttle buses run every sort of 12 minutes or so, but I'm always of the mindset that if you can walk, then you might as well just walk. You're going to be walking around the parks for 12 hours for the whole day, so what's an extra sort of 15 minutes walking to there? And you save a bit of time, because when you get to the gates, you're doing security at Disney Village as opposed to doing it with all the day trippers and things like that. This hotel is really, really popular with young kids, especially ones who like the Toy Story films, because it is a Wild West town. So you're not just staying in a hotel, you are staying in a real Wild West town. And Amanda, I think this makes it super popular with young kids, doesn't it?
Oh, it really does. I mean, it has a very nice theme. It's not like just going to stay at a run-of-the-mill hotel where you could be anywhere. You do really feel like you're in a Wild West town, don't you?
Yeah, there used to be a sand strip that went along the sort of the main part of the town, if you like, down the centre, but that got paved over probably about 22 years ago or something like that, because people's pushchairs used to get stuck in it, and then when it rained, all this people would traipse in the wet sand inside. So it doesn't look quite as themed from that sort of side. I mean, if you've never seen it before with the sand, you obviously wouldn't know. But I think this was the first hotel that I stayed in when I came all those years ago, and I just remember just thinking, wow, this is amazing. You are staying in a real Wild West town. It's not sort of just a hotel block that's got a bit of sort of cowboy theming and a bit of wood sort of attached to it. You walk outside your building and you are in a Wild West town, complete with things like a laundry, a bar, restaurant, all those kind of things. Even a Starbucks now, which maybe isn't quite as authentic for the Wild West.
No.
But, it's a great place to go and pick up a coffee and breakfast.
But it's got lots of photo opportunities as well, hasn't it? So it's got the stagecoach outside, the reception area also is all themed. You've got lots of Wild West things in there, and the cast members, the staff, they're all dressed in their Wild West outfits too.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably one of the hotels that you can definitely see the theming with. The theming is definitely kind of like over exaggerated in this one. Where you stay at something like Sequoia Lodge, it's kind of quite understated. Whereas when you're here, you are in a Wild West town. You are basically staying in Frontierland, effectively.
And it's always had that Wild West theming, of course, but some years ago they did the overlay of Woody from Toy Story, so the Woody sheriff theming goes into the rooms. And one of the things I think is really, really cute is all the room numbers have got the little sheriff's badge with the number in between, so there's an awful lot of detail there, isn't there, of the theming that you can see.
Yeah, it's not like if any of you have stayed at sort of like the All Stars movies resorts and things like that over in America, where it's kind of quite in your face, big giant characters and things like that. You're not going to find a 17-foot tall Woody or Buzz Lightyear or anything like that. It is kind of not sort of like in your face Toy Story kind of theming. It is kind of quite subtle with the sort of like the hints to Woody and Woody's Roundup within the rooms and just sort of the extra little touches around. It usually is a Toy Story character that's there in the morning. Also sort of some of the sort of classic characters, but it's kind of one of the only places in the hotels anyway where you're probably more likely to see someone like Jessie or Woody. But then they are sort of different every morning. So if you're there for 3 mornings, definitely go every single morning and go and queue up and go and meet one of the characters. It's a great way of doing it. They usually have a photo pass photographer, which is great. I always recommend getting a photo pass, especially nowadays. You can't give your phone over to anyone to go and get your photo taken. So you really kind of either one person needs to not be in there or you need to take a selfie. And I'm not great at taking selfies. I don't know what it is. I can't take them. I don't know if I've got
I think I need longer arms. Yeah, no, I'm rubbish.
Yeah, and you're not allowed to have selfie sticks or anything. Not that I'd have a selfie stick anyway. But having those professional photos, it's just a great way of getting everyone into the picture. It's right in reception. It's a really nice place, actually. I had a picture with Mickey a while ago. It's sort of a nice fireplace just next to it. And I kind of find the ones in the hotels are a bit more relaxed. They don't seem to be as rushed. And you don't really have to queue for that long.
And that is one of the benefits of staying in one of the on-site Disney hotels, isn't there? You've got those character meet and greet opportunities in every single one of the hotels, and they put up a little sign so that you know in advance who's going to be there.
Yeah, and then it's right next to the restaurant as well. So if you go in for breakfast, you can go and either go and do breakfast first, then go and meet the character, or go and meet the character first and then go and have breakfast afterwards as well. So it's a really nice kind of way to start your day. You've woken up, you've gone and had your breakfast, and you've already ticked off one character before you even got to the park. So you've already done quite a bit before sort of stepping foot into the theme park. So great way to sort of start the day, I think.
Yeah. So we mentioned about the rooms being that Woody theme. There's a couple of different room types, aren't there?
Yeah, so you've got sort of the standard room, got the ones which are closer to the hotel facilities, and you've also got the ones closer to the river. The ones that are closer to the hotel facilities are the ones that are going to be closer to where the restaurant, the reception, and the shuttle bus to the theme parks is going to be. So if you're planning on taking the shuttle bus, it might be worth looking at taking this rooms. If, like me, you prefer to walk, then actually the river hotel rooms are probably the better ones to go for because you're closer to the river. So it's a bit kind of quieter, and then it means that you're then closer to walk into the parks. The other ones are standard ones are kind of somewhere in the middle. It's quite a big hotel. From walking from one end to the other, it is kind of like a reasonable kind of walk. If you are one of those kind of people who wants to be next to the reception, who wants to be next to the restaurant, who wants to be next to the shuttle buses, then it's usually only a couple of pounds more to guarantee yourself that you're going to be in one of these ones next to the hotel. If, like me, you're going to walk everywhere, then actually I'd prefer to probably be next to the river.
Yeah, I think if you've got little kids, it is quite nice to have the rooms that are close to the hotel reception area. So if you need to go back and forth to the room, that's nice and easy. And as you said, it's not a huge upgrade cost, is it?
No. It's a couple of pounds per night sort of difference. And then you're guaranteed to be where you actually want to be. Now, within the rooms, 2 different sort of layouts. You've got your standard where you've got 2 double beds. And then the other option is to have 1 double bed and 1 pull-out bed. So it's a sofa bed. So it kind of gives you a bit more space during the day. It really just depends on your family type as to what's kind of going to work out better. If you're a couple, for example, then yeah, you're going to go for the one where it's a 1 double bed, and then you're going to have a sofa to sit down and chill out and relax on. Same as if you also probably got a toddler as well, you might just have those. If you've got teenagers, It really just depends on if they want to be on the pull-out bed or if they want to be onto one of those sort of double beds as well. So when you do book, you do get the option of which one to choose. So make sure you pay attention, because if you definitely want to have 2 double beds in the room, make sure that those are the ones that you book.
I mean, they're not huge, the rooms, are they? I mean, this is at the value end of the Disneyland Paris on-site hotels. I mean, perfectly adequate, plenty of space, particularly if you're going to be spending most of your time in the parks. They do sleep a maximum of 4 people, but I mean, if you're having like 4 adults or 2 adults and 2 older teens, it's going to be quite cozy, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, this hotel I think is more popular in the summer months, especially because you're going to be out and about so much. In the winter, when the park's closing at 7, 6 o'clock sometimes, I think this is when people then think, actually, maybe we'll pay this little bit extra and go and stay at Sequoia Lodge or Newport Bay Club or even New York Art of Marvel. But I think a lot of people during the summer months, they're not going to be in the room that much. They just want to be somewhere on site. And Hotel Cheyenne is a really kind of cool option for them.
Yeah, and if you've got kids who like Toy Story, they're really going to love staying in this hotel. One of my very favourite things in that room is they have the very cool lamp with Woody's cowboy boot is the base of the lamp, and then you've got a shade with pictures of Woody on the outside. I want one of those lamps.
They're really cool, aren't they? I mean, they were something from the original rooms before the upgrade, and I think people were quite scared when they heard there's going to be an overlay putting Toy Story in, that the boot lamps would be one of the things that would be gone and might be replaced with sort of like a bit more of a generic thing. But luckily, they've stuck with the boot lamps, and then even added to it as well, just putting the little sort of extra Disney touch on it.
Yeah, I think if they sold those or some version of those in the gift store, they would be flying off the shelves. I definitely would have one, but I've never seen them for sale. I think they just are in the room, and they're quite large, so you definitely couldn't be putting one in your suitcase. They are quite large.
No, I think also you might get noticed as well.
Yeah, definitely. Pretty standard offerings for a hotel room there. You've got, because it is a more value hotel, you've got the open wardrobe, so open hanging space rather than a closed wardrobe. Got the flat screen TVs in there now though, which is good. Got the usual channels, a few international channels, got the Disney Channel. But yeah, you're not going to Disneyland Paris to sit in your room and watch the telly, are you?
No, I mean, to be fair, nowadays, most families take with them sort of iPads and things like that to keep the kids amused on the plane or on the Eurostar. So instead of switching on the TV at night, a lot of people just kind of throw the iPads at the kids. There is free Wi-Fi across the whole hotel, as there is across pretty much all of the resort. It's not the fastest Wi-Fi in the world. I've used it quite a few times. I've used it when I've done bookings and things like that from the hotel Wi-Fi. So it's quick enough for that. But if you're downloading stuff or streaming stuff, it might be better to sort of download it beforehand as opposed to trying to stream it, especially if the hotel's really busy and there's a lot of kids all trying to get onto Disney Plus all at the same time.
Yeah, and it's no tea and coffee making facilities in the room. That's standard across all of the Disneyland Paris on-site hotels. You can request a kettle though, can't you? And everyone who's staying in the room gets 4 complimentary hot drinks on their room key card that you can go and use in one of the drinks machines.
Yeah, really kind of like nice feature. I think a lot of people don't realise that they get those extra drinks on their Magic Pass. I mean, you do have a Starbucks at Hotel Cheyenne. You can't use it there. You can't go and get your... I don't drink coffee, so I don't really know. You can't go and get your caramel macchiato thing with soy milk and that kind of stuff. They don't work on they're not the free ones. You have to go and pay for those ones. But you do kind of get your sort of vending machine sort of coffee or hot chocolate or something like that, which is really nice. Again, if you're staying there during the winter, it's kind of quite nice just to go and send someone out to go and pick up a load of hot drinks, take them back to the room. It saves messing around with a kettle, or because you can just go and ask for a kettle or a reception. But if you've got the free drinks on the pass, just go and use those, to be honest. There is a laundrette as well. Usually probably not away for long enough to actually require a laundrette, but accidents might happen and you might need it. Or we do get some people who are going on longer trips, so they're doing Disneyland Paris as part of a longer trip around the rest of Europe. So actually having the laundrette on site is kind of quite good. It's the only one of the on-site hotels that's got the access to a laundrette, so it is slightly different.
So talking about the rest of the resort then, there are some dining options there, aren't there, if people want to eat in the resort?
Yeah, so you've got your Starbucks, which is kind of open to, I think, sort of 10 o'clock at night. So it's open reasonably late, and it's kind of like normal sort of Starbucks kind of fare. So you can go and get big slices of cake, and you can get paninis and sandwiches and that kind of stuff. So a lot of people will just go and grab something for breakfast from there. Might be maybe an orange juice and a coffee. Grab that, walk to the park, and by the time they've got to the park, they're all ready and set for the day. If you're on a meal plan, then of course you're going to be going into the Chakwagon Cafe and going to have your breakfast in there. I really like this restaurant. It's cool. I mean, I like the whole Wild West kind of theming anyway, so that kind of spreads out. It's quite a big restaurant. Sometimes, you look at the queue and think, oh wow, that's quite a long queue to get into it, but it goes reasonably quickly. They're very kind of quick at what they're doing. I must say as well, there's toilets next to the restaurant. They're really nice.
Nice toilets, nice toilets.
I know it sounds like a really weird thing, but they were refurbished a couple of years ago, and they're just really nice. So the restaurant's open for breakfast, so you can go and get your breakfast. Some people do say to us, can I just get a breakfast only meal plan and then I'll sort of pay as you go the rest of the time? It's really not worth it, in all honesty. For the price difference between what breakfast is and the standard meal plan, you might as well pay the extra and get an evening meal included. It's not that much more in comparison. Breakfast is not cheap at Disneyland Paris. If you're not particularly big breakfast eater, then maybe don't bother having the breakfast. The buffet one, maybe just go to Starbucks and grab a go, or even just a lot of people take sort of like the Belvitas and things like that, or rice crackers. Because let's face it, Amanda, do you have a particularly big breakfast when you're at home?
No, I don't at home, but I do like a Disney buffet breakfast, I have to say. I think it does get you set up for the day. Yeah, again, it depends on the time of year, what time the parks are opening. But if you've had that nice big buffet breakfast, then you'll probably find you're just snacking at lunch and then just having your evening meal. So if you have got a half-board meal package, everything's taken care of, isn't it? But if you are more breakfast on the go, don't eat a big breakfast. So you can take things with you, you can buy Starbucks. But there's quite a few places in Disney Village you can pick things up, or just have a coffee to start your day and then have something in the parks mid-morning to keep you going. Yeah,
a lot of people just sort of grab snacks or something like in the park. I mean, it's a good way of kind of doing that. Or they might eat their main meal, sort of their lunch, a bit earlier as well. So I mean, a lot of the quick service restaurants you can get into reasonably early. I mean, I've had, to try and avoid the crowds, I've had my lunch before at sort of 11:30. I haven't had breakfast and then immediately gone and had a menu number 3, sort of like an hour afterwards. So yeah, if you don't have that. So it kind of just depends on how you your family better than we do. So it kind of depends on that. In the evening, then you've got the buffet. So it's kind of a bit more of a Tex-Mex sort of feel to it. As per usual, you've got the normal sort of like kids kind of stuff. So, they can have sort of chicken nuggets and macaroni cheese and all that kind of stuff. And I've said before, I do like the chicken nuggets in the buffets at Disney. But it is kind of like a bit more of a Tex-Mex kind of feel to it. You can get things like sort of like chili, and you can make wraps from it as well. So sort of like chicken fajitas. You can also get sort of like the sliced meat, dolphin wild potatoes, pasta, that kind of stuff. So it's a really good kind of range. Salad as well. If you've been to Billy Bob's Lagrange, which is on the 3rd floor of Billy Bob's in Disney Village, it's almost the same food. Not that much difference between them. The difference is the price, because look, Billy Bob's is about €3 or €4 more expensive for pretty much exactly the same thing. So, if you're paying out of pocket for it, maybe go to this one. That's what myself and one of my friends did. I'm going to argue about going to Billy Bob's before. Actually, no, let's go to Chakwagon Cafe instead. It's the same food. We can save ourselves sort of €4 or so. But if you're on the standard dining plan, then it's included. You get your buffet, and then you also get a refreshing drink included as well.
Yeah, that half-board standard meal plan, I think, is really good value for money for what you get. And if you are staying maybe 3 or 4 nights at Hotel Cheyenne, of course, you can use that meal voucher for your main meal for lunch in the parks if you prefer, or dinner at another one of the hotels that has the standard meal plan as well. Or you can pay a bit extra, can't you, if you want to have one of the plus restaurants?
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people do, is they go in, for example, one night they might go into if they're staying at Cheyenne, they're going to do one night in their own hotel. Another night they might go to somewhere in Disney Village, or they might go opposite and go to Hotel Santa Fe, go and have the buffet there. It is a different buffet over there. And then one day they might go to Plaza Gardens or Agrabah Cafe in the Disneyland Park. So there's quite a few different places you can go to without paying anything extra. But then, likewise, as you said, you can just use your voucher as a monetary value towards eating at one of the Plus restaurants. And Nets is really popular, one to go and use it for. It's only a couple of pounds, a couple of euros more to sort of out of pocket to go and eat there. And it's kind of quite a cool place. It's quite energetic. It's a lot of kinetic movement in that restaurant.
I really like Nets. It's a great, fun restaurant, isn't it? The menu is, it's fairly standard, but I think the kids really like it. It's in a very convenient location in Disney Village, so you're going to be walking through there to get to the parks or back to your hotel. So definitely that's a good choice.
Yeah, really good kind of choice. One of the things I do like about going to a buffet is that you're in and you're going to start eating straight away. So if you go to
Chuck
somewhere...
Wagon Cafe, buffet, yeah.
Because we've had it before where we've kind of looked at the queue for a Nets because you can't reserve there, and then I've kind of checked to see if there's any availability at one of the sort of hotel buffets and gone, actually, to be fair, by the time we kind of sit down in the Nets and by the time we've got through the queue and things like we could be eating by then by going to a buffet. So if you're like me and you just want to get
that food straight away, yeah.
you don't want to wait for someone to come over and then give you the menu and then all that kind of stuff. So if you're like me, buffets are kind of quite a good way of doing it. And also you get to kind of pile up your plate and put on loads of stuff that you wouldn't normally kind of put onto it. They had a curry, like a jungle curry last year. But you mix that with chili and Tex-Mex stuff and chicken fajitas. I wouldn't do this at home.
No, I think you're giving me indigestion just thinking about it.
There's a lot of acid. There's a lot of acidy kind of food on the plate. And then the desserts are really nice as well afterwards. The desserts, a little tip for you, Amanda, is that the desserts in the buffet restaurants is the same in all the buffet restaurants. So you go to Newport Bay Club, which is a more expensive buffet, it has exactly the same desserts as if you're going to Chuck Wagon Cafe, and it's about sort of €9-10 cheaper.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's
so
definitely
if you like
a good
desserts,
tip. And if you don't want a meal, or after you've had your meal, there's also somewhere to go and get a drink, isn't there? They've got the Red Garter Saloon.
Yeah, really nice in there. You can sit outside as well, which I've done a couple of times. You sort of sit out, especially in the summer, you can just sort of sit out and chill out, relax. There's a big screen in there, so if you're wanting to watch whatever the sport's on, it's a good place to watch the sport. It's one of the cheapest places to drink alcohol on site at Disney. All the hotels have got different, so Hotel Cheyenne and Santa Fe are the same prices in the bar. I think it's also the same price at the sports bar as well in Disney Village, and they are the three kind of cheapest places to go for a drink. So even if you're not staying there, you might just want to wander over. It's about €1 cheaper per drink compared to going to a sort of Sequoia, or a couple of euros cheaper than going to Disneyland Hotel. So if all you wanted to do is sort of have a drink and sit down, then it's kind of quite nice to go and do that. And it is one of the only bars that's going to be showing any live sport. So if you do want to watch live sport, one of the best options to go for.
One of the things to bear in mind if you're staying at Hotel Cheyenne is it doesn't have a pool. So Santa Fe and Cheyenne Valley hotels, they don't have a swimming pool. So if that's important to you, then this probably isn't the hotel for you. And it is worth checking the price between, the next hotel up will be Sequoia Lodge, which does have a really nice pool. And quite often there isn't that big a price difference between the two.
No, especially in the winter season, especially off season, it's not that much more usually to upgrade to go and stay at Sequoia Lodge. And then you're going to get the swimming pool. And you know what, in the summer, maybe you're not going to be in the park that much, so you don't really need to have a swimming pool. But in the winter, when the park's closing at 7, especially if you've got slightly older kids, so if you've got sort of teens or tweens, if the park closes at 7 and you have your dinner at 7:30, you're going to be done by 8:30, 9 o'clock. Like maybe actually go to a hotel that's got a swimming pool, because maybe you can go for a swim and then go for dinner a bit later. After that, or you're just going to end up going back to the room and the kids are going to be just watching stuff on iPads and things like that. So yeah, have a look to see if there is much of a difference to go and upgrade to go and stay at Sequoia Lodge and go to the pool. The pool there is really nice. It's got a big jacuzzi, really fast slide, actually surprisingly fast slide at Sequoia Lodge.
Yeah, Sequoia Lodge is one of my favourite pools, I think, of all of the on-site Disney hotels. That one and the one over at Davy Crockett, I think that has a really nice pool as well.
Yeah, that's a really big over there. It's not as big at Sequoia Lodge, but it's just really nicely done. And it was recently refurbished about 2 years ago as well, so it looks really nice and really fresh.
Although I have to say, I mean, I do this all the time. Oh, I'll have to stay at the place with the pool, and then you go there, and then you never actually use the pool. So it's really think hard whether you're going to a hotel for these amenities that you're not actually going to use.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, likewise, for example, at Cheyenne, at certain times of year they have pony rides. It's an extra charge to go and do them. You don't have to be staying on site. You can. Anyone who's staying at another Disney hotel can just go in and pay to have the pony rides. But realistically, the times that the pony rides are on, you're probably going to be in the park. So you might do it on your first day or on your last day. That's about it, really. I don't really think anyone's leaving the park halfway through the day to come back and have a pony ride.
No, but they're just little fun extras, aren't they? And I think especially with younger children, particularly you've got that Wild West theme. Yeah, a few pony rides through the Wild West town would be quite special for them. So we always finish the show with some of our top tips. So what's one of your top tips for staying at the Hotel Cheyenne?
I'd say definitely book in for dinner one night at the Chuckwagon Cafe. It's a really fun Tex-Mex buffet. Great value for money. Even if you're not on a dining plan, it's still fantastic value for money, much sort of better value for money than some of the other kind of restaurants that you're going to find in Disney Village, for example. That's my top tip, is go and have dinner one night at Chuckwagon Cafe.
One of my top tips, you already mentioned actually before, but it's to walk to the parks rather than take the shuttle bus. I mean, the shuttle bus is there if you have got little ones with little legs who don't want to do the walking, fair enough, but you're going to find it's quicker to walk to the parks than it is to wait for the shuttle bus.
Very, very true. And then you also skip security as well by going through Disney Village security as opposed to going with all the other sort of day trippers and things like that. So it is kind of a bit of a nice experience. And you kind of stay within the Disney bubble without going out to the train station. My next tip is, if you do have younger children and you are going to be taking the shuttle bus, look at upgrading and staying in one of the nearer hotel facilities rooms, because then you're going to be closer to the reception, you can be closer to the shuttle bus, you can be closer to the restaurant as well for breakfast and for dinner.
And my last top tip is to do with the price of your holiday. So I find Hotel Cheyenne does vary in cost quite a lot depending on the day of the week you arrive and how full the hotel is, how booked up it is. So look at, if you're flexible on dates, look a few days either side. That can make a big difference to the cost. And also look at the cost of maybe upgrading to Sequoia Lodge, which, as much as we love the Cheyenne, it's great with all that Wild West theming. If you want to be a little bit closer to the parks and you want to have a pool, just look at how much difference it will be to upgrade to Sequoia Lodge, because often you'll find it isn't that much more expensive.
Yeah, especially at the moment, the way that Disney are doing their pricing is they're not actually really linked together. It's not if this hotel is this price and this one is going to be this price. It's not a set kind of figure. It's all down to how many rooms are available. So if Cheyenne is nearly full and Sequoia is pretty much empty, Sequoia might actually be cheaper. We've seen it quite a few times that Sequoia is cheaper.
Although we're not trying to talk you out of staying at the Hotel Cheyenne, because we do really love that hotel. And I think particularly for people with young kids, they will really, really love the theming. Whether they're Toy Story fans or not, you do feel like you're staying somewhere very special. It's certainly not the run-of-the-mill hotel. Feels very different when you're staying there, doesn't it?
And as with all on-site Disney hotels, you can get into the park early as well, which is a fantastic sort of extra bonus. So whilst the park normally opens at 10 o'clock, you can usually get in from 8:30 in the morning. So you're going to be able to go up. Not everything's open. It generally tends to be sort of the Fantasyland rides and most of Discoveryland. So you can go in and get a few rides ticked off every single morning.
Well, that's all for this week. We really hope you enjoyed the show and finding out a little bit more about the Hotel Cheyenne. Please make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of our future episodes. And if you like the show, it'd be great if you could leave us a review as well. If you want to find out more about Fairy Tale Holidays and how you can book your next holiday with us, then visit our website. That's fairytaleholidays.co.uk. You can find all the links in the show notes. So thanks for listening.
And have a magical day.